Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, I will talk about a roadmap for backend development. So, if you want to be a backend developer, you don't know what should you do, from where you should start, this video is for you. Also, if you started a backend development and you want to be a senior developer, you should go through these phases that I will discuss in this video. So let's go through to phase 1 and talk about phase 1. In this phase, we should learn about the internet. What is internet at all? It's the fundamentals of the internet. How does internet work? What is HTTP and HTTPS? Browsers. How does, for example, Chrome work? What is domain? What is host? From where I should buy them? These questions will come when you start learning about internet. And as I said, it's a fundamental of the internet. It's really need to know about these items and these questions. Then you can have a better understanding of other phases. After you learn fundamentals, you should decide about language that you want to choose. We have a lot of options here, like Rust, Go, Java, C#, Python, PHP, JavaScript, many things we have here. If you, for example, know what language you want to start, so start that and go to next phase. But if you don't know and you are thinking which of these languages is better for you, my suggestion in this step for language and for programming language is Python. Start learning about the Python. I have many reasons for that. It's not really too hard. You can learn the programming fundamentals, for example, if statements, loops, for loops, while loops, or many things in the Python. And also, as I said, it's not too hard. After that, you can, for example, learn Django it's using Python. Flask, Fast API. There are some frameworks that you can use with Python. So my suggestion is Python here. To start Python, and after that, maybe you go through artificial intelligence with that. So Python is a good language. You can start with that and go through other steps. After you decide what language you want to start, you should learn about the version control systems, like GitHub, GitLab, and Bitbucket. For example, we have some others like Azure DevOps repos, or Azure repos or something like that. But these are something that you can learn. My suggestion also in this step and to learn version control is GitHub in the first stage. After that, you can go through, for example, GitLab. They don't have a lot of different. You can start with GitHub. What is version control at all? Let's assume that you're writing a code and you should maintain your code somewhere, especially when you are working with a team. You should push your code somewhere, then other teammates can access to that, read your codes, run their codes on their sites, and many things else. So it's also very important to know about one of these version control system. As I said, my suggestion is GitHub. Don't forget, I forget something, I forgot to mention something. If you choose Python in the stage 2, you also should learn about that. You should learn fundamentals in the Python, functions, classes, arrays, lists, many things that you should learn in the Python. So decide about language and learn about that. For example, if you choose JavaScript, so learn about JavaScript, how you can use Node.js or anything else. I will discuss more in a minute in this video. After these steps, learn about the language and learn about the version control system. You should learn about databases that we have here. We have many kind of databases. SQL and NoSQL databases. For example, we have Postgres, we have MySQL, SQLite, MongoDB, Oracle, or many things else. In my idea, you should know about most of the databases. For example, MongoDB, it's NoSQL database. So you should know about that. You should know about SQLite. You should know about MySQL. Why? Because maybe in a project in the future, you will need that. So start with, for example, SQLite or MySQL, one of these two, to learn about the database. What is database at all? How you can use that? Why we are using database? Start learning about that. Start with one of these two that I mentioned. After that, you can learn others. So, after you choose language, learn about the databases, you should learn about the API. REST, how you can build REST API. What is JSON? What is token? What is auth? You should learn these REST API. It's very important. For example, then you will write a code with Python, and you will let your front-end developer to connect with your backend with, for example, Django. So it's also very important to learn about the API. In phase 2, we learn about the language. For example, Python. What is Python? How we can use if statement in Python, in JavaScript, in PHP. But in this step, we are learning how to create an API. What is token? What is JSON format? It's also very important step. After that, you should learn about caching, CDN, server side, and also client side. You should also know about the caching, how you should cache your data, and it will help us to have a good performance of the backend and server side. It's very important to know about the caching. Security. Doesn't need to say anything about that. You know it's very important. You should know about the hashing. You should know about the SSL, HTTPS, and many things in the security. Because you should make your code as secure as possible to prevent attacks. So it's very important. After that, you learned about the databases, language, you create an API. Don't forget to define a project for yourself and create API for that. If you have a friend that he's writing front end and he's working on front end technology, define a project together. For example, define define a shop and make this website online together. Start developing front end from scratch, back end from scratch. You will learn a lot in that. When you define a project and when you go through the project. After these steps, we should go through phase 8 to write unit test for our code to make sure our functionality is working fine. For example, if we have a login API, we should make sure if a user call that API, we store the user data on our database. So unit test will help us to make sure that our functionality is working fine. And after that, in last phase that we have here, we can learn about CI/CD, automation in the release and the pipelines. What does it mean? For example, if you push your code on a repo, on a, for example, GitHub, then it will trigger automatically and it will go to production or staging that you define for your project. So it's very important to know about the CI/CD pipelines, what are happening in those pipelines, and how we can, for example, create .yml file or anything else. One of the tools that you can use is Azure DevOps. It's a tool, but it's better to try to learn a CI/CD without any special tool. For example, buy a host, make .yml file yourself, and buy a Linux machine and do that yourself. Why? Because it will help you to understand this process. So that's it for a person who wants to learn backend development. We will have a lot of other things in this road, but these 9 phases, if you go through them from scratch, from phase 1 to phase 9, we can say after finish phase 9, you will be a mid-level developer, and after that, with write a lot of project and experience many things in the real project, you will be a senior developer.